guys aren't going to believe who one of my very first guests is going to be. I'm going to let him introduce himself in a minute, but right now I'm excited because what I wanted for this podcast is genuineness and transparency. And my next guest is been a good friend of mine for many, many years, and he was kind enough to join me today. And I'm going to introduce you to Jason Klatt. Jason, tell us who you're with.
Hey, Kenny, thanks for having me. I'm with Maintainer Corporation. So I've been with Maintainer for the most part of 35 years.
So Jason is what we would call an OG in the industry. And as I told you guys many times, that the purpose of our group, the purpose of our community is to look after each other. And that's what I promised. I told you guys I'd have your back. And I consider Maintainer to be one of the premier manufacturers of service bodies in the U.S. But you guys already knew that. So why are we here? We are here to discuss an issue that I think has been near and dear. You guys were talking about it. There's a lack of trucks, lack of availability, and there's significant price increases. And I think that's really important. And I wanted to talk to Jason about it. So Jason, let's get started with that being our topic.
Okay. Well, again, I appreciate you having me on. It's been an interesting couple of years here, actually probably going on 3 years since COVID. I think we've all kind of been down this trail here of supply chain issues, chassis shortages, just about anything you can think of. We've all been hit with it. So, as a manufacturer, it's been tough. It's been a struggle, and I think we're all in the same boat. So everybody's trying to communicate the best we can with our customers and just trying to be upfront and honest what's going on. And I think people have been patient for the most part. But as we kind of come out of this, it's an interesting journey to say the least.
So as I understand it, the initial trigger was microchips on the chassis side. But before that happened, we started to see demand increase in the body side. Was there already a little bit of contraction in terms of manufacturing capacity prior to COVID, or was COVID the trigger?
No, I think from our standpoint, we were constrained before COVID. Just the overwhelming of orders and business for everybody has been booming the last 6 years or 7 years. So going into COVID, we had quite a backlog anyway, and then you just added the shortage after with parts and chassis, and just kind of made it double, so to speak, double the trouble.
Double whammy.
Double whammy, exactly. So no, it's been an interesting deal, and like I said, I think everybody's at max capacity, and then I don't think the big key in all this, of course, is the help. That's the wild card in all of this.
That's what I was going to ask you. Is labor turning out to be one of the critical factors?
Yes, it is. I think we can all agree labor is by far probably the biggest factor in production capabilities, lead times. I think we're seeing the materials are getting back to a normal pace of availability. Suppliers are getting their lead times down, but it's just people.
You've been doing it for a long time. So over the 35 years, have you seen the makeup of the actual employee that is on the production lines, that's fabricating and building and assembling these bodies? Have you seen that change over the years?
I don't know if it's necessarily been a change. We're located in a small northwest town up in Iowa, and there's a lot of manufacturing, and of course, if you know service trucks, there's about 3 or 4 of us within a 100-mile radius up in that northwest corner. So,
yep.
Everybody fight, and we have a lot of industry up in that corner of the country as well, from ag, manufacturing, and we're about 60 miles from Sioux Falls, South Dakota, and about 60 miles from Sioux City, Iowa. So it's like everybody, you're fighting for people, and now it's just become more of a challenge of how do you retain the people that you can actually get on the payroll that are decent quality, and try to train them and keep them.
Are you finding that the workers are demanding more, or do they feel they're entitled to more? How would you describe the mentality of your new hires?
Well, I got to probably be a little careful here about what my opinion is to the real world, but I think it's a combination of a handful of things. I think it's a younger generation, has a different work ethic. When I was brought up and got involved in the business, I grew up in the business, and I had a father that worked 6 days a week and didn't have a hobby, and that's what we did. That's what he did, and I followed suit. And so that's not the case today. And that's okay. It's just it's. I think as manufacturers, we're all trying to adjust to what's kind of the new normal. Is it 4-day work weeks? Is it 4/10s? Is it 5, 8 day? There's a lot of things that it's going to vary with different companies and how to find that happy medium.
Now we're at NTEA. Has that been a topic in any of the workshops that you guys have been attending? Are you guys addressing that issue?
I think it. I don't know if I haven't attended a lot myself, but I think just talking to some of the attendees around and different things, it's a topic for everybody.
Okay.
I call it the $7.5 million magic trick. 7.5 million people just seem to have disappeared since COVID. It's the best magic trick ever placed.
Maybe the rapture happened and we weren't paying attention.
Very, very, very true. That okay. Again, there's just a lot of variables in it. I think people just have a different outlook on working, and there's people that want to work, and it's just a matter now of they have different. I was talking to somebody the other day. Here's a prime example. When I growing up in the '80s, '90s with families, one parent stayed home, the other one worked. You could afford to do that. Well, today you can't afford to do that. Both parents have to work for the most part. And it's tough to balance that and to have an employee and an employer that can find that happy medium. What can we do to help retain those people and give them what they need?
So I was talking to a good friend of mine. His name is John Glee, and he was saying that there's a lack of leadership in our industry, both body companies, the equipment dealers, everybody's just a lack of imagination, lack of leadership, talking about changing the paradigm. So things like offering employee health care, employee child care, a modified profit sharing incentive where the longer a guy stays with you or a gal stays with you, the more in other words, like golden handcuffs, the way you would tend to retain an executive. Have you guys explored any of those weird ideas?
We have a little bit, yes. We've actually, and it's not a real hidden secret, everybody's looking for the next best thing to offer their employees. One of the things we've actually implemented was if you're with us for a certain amount of time, we basically are offering free cell phone and service for that employee, and even discounted for their family members. So just trying to think outside that box of what can we do, and in listening to the employees, what can we offer you that will help you make life easier and make you want to come to work.
Okay, well, that's good. So since my podcast is all about the guys that are operating our trucks, that are buying them, tell me a little bit about Maintainer's approach to the end user. So we know we've got significant price increases that we're having to deal with on a regular basis. That's just a fact of life. But specifically, what are you guys doing that's going to help the end user get more value from his truck or her truck?
Well, that's a good question. I think we're all in that same boat together here with everybody. The inflation, the price increase. I think the customer has to look. We've kind of gotten through this, I call it 18 months of doesn't matter what it costs, just get me a truck. And I think that's coming to an end here.
Amen to that.
Yeah. So, it's a matter of, I think, sitting with your customer and just sitting down and saying, okay, are there things that you really need anymore that we can look at maybe some cost savings aspect of it? I think I'm starting to hear and starting to see with some of my clients, they're looking at better utilization and maybe turning that truck to get more value out of the truck and not just say run it till it's got nothing left in it. It still has value to it. It's maybe worth, they run it 6-7 years and it's worth 60-70%. And they can reclaim that and get that back out and get into new trucks. I think they're just looking at everything, and we're just looking at things that can help them do their job and the technician do their job better, more efficient. And help offset some of that increase.
Now, one of the areas that you guys have kind of led the industry, I mean, we all consider ourselves individual leaders in our respective categories, but you guys, I've known you guys for a long time. And one of the things that I noticed is that you guys have addressed different materials to try and increase payload. So can you tell me a little bit about that approach and how's it been working for you so far?
Sure. We quick backstory. With Maintainer, we've always, back in the day, we built things pretty heavy, and as the years have kind of transitioned here, we've took the approach and looked into the newer materials, lighter materials. We were one of the first body companies to go to an all aluminum door around 14 or 15 years ago, and just looking to try to maximize that payload for that customer. I think right now we're at about 30% of our body is actually aluminum. So just trying to get every ounce and every pound matters in today's world, especially it goes back to what we were just talking about. You can't find help, that these companies can't find technicians. One thing that's really where I'm really starting to see is the non-CDL trucks. I just think that's the new, really going to be the push, because it allows that owner, equipment dealer, to be able to have a truck that he doesn't need a certified CDL operator for. So the more payload he can get on a Class 5 truck, he's just going to do more with it.
How has your relationship with the chassis OEMs changed, improved over the years? Are you seeing any noticeable? I'm going to laugh because we know we know kind of what's happening,
Right.
But the truth is what are you guys experiencing as an OEM body manufacturer? What are you actually experiencing with your relationships with your OEMs over the last few years?
Well, I think the biggest thing is just going to be availability. I mean, we all know that, and again now price, uncertainty, allocations. We're all in this together. I mean, we're all in an unknown right now, I think. Everybody's trying, but I think how do I want to say this? There's so much unknown yet with the chassis people, and I think honestly, from a chassis standpoint, I think some of the larger OEMs, the bigger players, have kind of gone numb to listening to us. I really have. I think they, and again, our market, Kenny, as you know, is a very small percentage of where those chassis go. I mean, when you look at the ambulance companies and the roll-off companies and the flatbeds and everything else that makes up this industry that uses these trucks, these chassis, we're a small portion.
That's absolutely true. One of the things that I'm wondering is, and I'm speculating, and and basically as I interview more of you guys and talk to you, I want to see if we form a consensus, is do you think that the manufacturers are feeling pressure to go green and to adopt battery electric technology and those type of technologies, and you think that that's having an adverse impact on their ability to service the needs of the internal combusted market? Do you think that's having an impact on what's happening right now?
Oh, definitely. There's no question about it. You can just see it being here at NTEA again this year. They're being pushed by the government for renewable electric vehicles. So I think that's utilizing a chunk of their manufacturing in what they can do, and that's definitely playing a factor into, I think, getting the chassis and the other gas-powered, diesel-powered vehicles through their production.
Where do you think our customers, if I'm advocating for the guys that are actually using these trucks, what should we be telling them to be prepared for over the next 3 to 5 years with respect to the chassis and the powertrains, and what should they anticipate happening in your opinion over the next 3 to 5 years?
I think you're probably going to see a little bit. I think overall we're going to see kind of a standard status quo, so to speak. There's going to be some push for green, but I truly believe part of that's going to hit its plateau. I do. I just think as soon as the free money, so to speak, runs out, I think we're going to see. Let's just face it. The concept is there. I think we went from. We were going from A to, say, H, J, K with hybrid. Okay. And now the last few years, they've wanted to go from A to Z.
Okay.
We're literally going from gas and diesel to all electric. And we just don't, we all know we don't have the infrastructure in place to be able to make that change. Now, is going green and being more smarter and everything that way? Yes, we need to look at that stuff, but on a reasonable measure. I think it's gone way too fast. So as far as the chassis people go, I think there is going to be a push, but there's also going to be a point where customers that use our type of vehicles, it just doesn't make sense. You just can't, field mechanic, I've got a customer out west that in California that's a municipal that's been pushed to run CNG, and they have to go out on a call in the middle of the night to the Arizona border. They can run 3 hours on CNG, and then they got to spend $3,000 to have a semi-wrecker come out and get them.
That's kind of crazy.
It is. It's just that's the common sense part of it that we've lost. But
yeah.
But I think that's part of the education part of it too that we're learning as we go.
Well, I know that I promised you we keep this short, and I can't tell you how much I appreciate it, Jason. I hope we're going to get a chance to do it again. The goal of Service Trucks USA is to take care of our members, and the fact that I told them I had some friends, that I told them I'd get them, and I get that information in front of them. I want them to know that Maintainer is one of several great companies that does a great job, and you guys know who I work for, so I'm not going to be, but we all know that. But we all work together, and our goal today is to help you guys, let you know that these guys are listening. Jason's been with Maintainer for 35 years. He's a seasoned professional, and he cares just as much about, you guys as I do. And that's why he was willing to, to meet with us today and to join us. And I hope you guys enjoyed it. This is the beginning of several podcast that we're going to be doing from NTEA, and I hope you guys enjoyed the chat with Jason, and I really want to thank him for his time. I greatly appreciate it. Jason, there's anything you want to say to these guys before we let you go?
Well, I appreciate everyone that listens to this. It's something new for me as well, so I appreciate Kenny giving me the chance to come on here, and like he said, all of us, it's a small world we live in the service truck industry, and we're all here to help each other, and I think it's a decent playing field. We all get along, and if it wasn't for you guys, we wouldn't be doing what we're doing. So that's the key at the end of the day. If you guys weren't buying service trucks, we wouldn't be sitting here having this conversation. So thank you, and Kenny, thanks for having me on.
Hey, I can't tell you how much I appreciate it, Jason.
Well, I appreciate it.
All right, brother. You be safe. And thank you, everybody. I'm going to be signing out. So thank you again. We got more coming from NTEA. I want to thank you for listening. And please tell your friends. Make sure you subscribe. And make sure you like us when you get a chance. All right? You take care. KJ out. Subscribe right now to Service Trucks USA on your favorite platform so you'll never miss an episode. And don't forget to follow us on Facebook at Service Trucks USA. That's Service TRUX USA, where you'll get even more great content, discussions, and resources related to vocational service trucks. I look forward to getting to know each of you better. Until then, keep your fingers dirty and your nose clean. This is your guy, your man, your dude, KJ, signing off.